Hi everyone, Anna Betuzzi here with Reed Supplies Canada. Today I've just got a quick video on how to use English horn reed sealing tube to make sure that your reeds don't fall off of your bocal. So if that's something that happens to you quite often, I definitely recommend getting yourself some reed sealing tube. So you can use this for basically any brand of English horn or oboe d'amore reeds. And here's what our end result's going to look like. We've just got a little tubing attached to the end of the staple just to make sure that it stays stuck and doesn't go anywhere. You won't need to get the sealing tube if you have chudnow staples. So these ones, they've basically got a little rubber circle inside of the staple, and you won't need to put the sealing tube because your reeds should stick to the bocal already. But if you've just got ordinary like Lorraine or any other brand of just plain metal staples, you'll definitely want to get some tubing on there to make sure that they don't go anywhere. So let's get into how to do it. Alright, so here's everything that we're going to need. First of all, you're going to want a mandrel, an English horn mandrel. Any brand is fine as long as it matches your staples. So of course, next thing we're going to need is the staples. Here's what our end result is going to look like, and then I've also got another staple that I'm going to add the tubing to. We also need a bocal to double check the fit, make sure everything's going to be secure. Then I've got a fresh razor blade and a cutting block. A pair of scissors will also do. I've got a ruler here, and of course I've got the sealing tube. It comes with a little bit of instructions if you get the one from Lorraine, but any version of the sealing tube will do. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is just measure the sealing tube. So we want the length of approximately 7 millimeters, but you can always err on the side of too long. You can always cut more off. You can't put it back on, same as reed making. You can always take more off, you can't put any back on. So we're just going to look and make sure we have a length of about 7 millimeters here, just checking on the ruler. And I'm just going to kind of put the razor blade into the tube at 7 millimeters just so that I can see exactly where it needs to be. And then from there I'm going to go onto the cutting block and make sure I get a nice clean cut. Alright, something like that. I'm just going to check my measurement. Not too bad. Alright, so then the next thing we're going to do is just put the staple onto the mandrel, and then we're going to put the tube over top. So I just like to go from the top. I find it a little bit easier anyways. And you can just kind of slide the tube down. You can also, I like to use a ruler to kind of help it along. So we're just kind of trying to nudge it down slowly. And if you find it gets really stuck, you can also kind of warm the tube with your hands or dunk it in some warm water for a few minutes just to make it a bit more malleable. So we're just slowly going down here. Getting close. I'm just kind of alternating side to side to make sure it goes down evenly. And then once you get towards the bottom, you kind of want the tube to be half on, half off. And then also making sure that it's somewhat level, something like that. So here's what I've ended up with, just like that. And then we're just going to take it off of the mandrel. And then the final step will be to make sure that it fits properly on your bocal. So just grab your bocal. Then we're just going to test the fit here. And that's not going anywhere. So there we have it. A sealing tube attached to the English horn bocal. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hope this video was helpful, and happy reed making!